Austin East Magnet High School off Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue is home to the Roadrunners. But in the 1950s and 60s, the Mountaineers ruled that campus.
10 News photojournalist William Winnett, who happens to be an Austin East graduate, and I look at how two very different student bodies became the school we know today. Austin East Magnet is one of the more diverse public high schools in Knoxville. However, that wasn't the case inside the school building 70 years ago.
The schools really didn't desegregate until the late 60s.
In the 50s and early 60s, Austin East was actually two separate segregated schools less than 2 miles apart.
What is Vine Middle School now, that was Austin High School.
Austin High dates back to 1879. A white female educator determined to offer black students quality education, fundraised for a high school, and convinced the Board of Education to contribute. That fall, she opened the first public high school for black students in Knoxville.
And it was located at 327 South Central. And it was Austin High there from 1879 until 1916.
The school moved several times from Payne Avenue to Vine Street, opening a new campus just a block away in the fall of 1952.
Austin High was a very good school, had some very excellent teachers. And at that time, because of segregation, you had a lot of your teachers lived in the area, or you went to church with them, or so that you knew them, and they knew you and knew your family. So that made a difference.
The year before, white students from Park City, Burlington, and other East Knoxville neighborhoods started classes at East High, the current site of Austin East, and became the Mountaineers.
I started in '55, but it was about a 500-600 person school. Most of us were blue collar. I knew very few people who owned their own business.
East and Austin were two of several new high schools the city school system and the Board of Education opened across Knoxville after World War II.
It was a very, very strong blending environment. We had Jewish kids, we had Greek kids.
But no black students.
It was definitely wrong, but it was just the way it was.
I graduated in 1963. I had no experience with any kind of integration the rest of my time in public school because they fought it.
It's interesting that a Knoxville judge's decision is what desegregated Clinton High, but here at home things were just kind of really gradual.
That changed 12 years after the judge's ruling in Clinton.
In 1968, they merged all black Austin with all white East, or nearly all white East, because they had begun to desegregate East High School in the middle 60s. And eventually, Austin East High School became virtually all black all over again. So they made an effort to correct that by offering the magnet program. That has been fairly successful.
Today, Austin East is 83% African American, according to the State Department of Education, and the fourth smallest high school in the district, with 744 students enrolled in either in-person or virtual this past year. Now, tomorrow at 5:30, we take a closer look at urban renewal through the eyes of two community leaders whose families were uprooted.